everybody, and welcome to our sixth Nest Builders event. I'm Danielle Hunter, the Director of Education here at the Nest, and I am very excited to welcome you all. We've got some pretty special guests joining us here tonight. Before I introduce them and before we dive into tonight's topic, as always, I'd just like to take a minute to thank everybody who's watching. A special shout out to our Nest family members, our Nest staff, anybody viewing from really across the map and just spending this time here with us tonight. We have a lot of fun, so welcome back if it's a repeat, and welcome to if it's your first time. So as I mentioned, tonight's Nest Builders is a really special one. We are joined by three of our very own Nesties. We've got Laura Kafalik from our Brecksville school. She is the director there. We've got Amber Clifford, the director of our Winter Garden School in Florida, and we've got Diana Allen, the director of our Lutz School in Florida. In addition to our lovely guests, I am actually joined tonight with a co-host. I am joined with a member of my education team, Haley Narciso. She is our lead early childhood education specialist, and super excited to have somebody helping me sort of co-host and navigate this great conversation with our school leaders. So Laura, Diana, Amber, and Haley, welcome, and thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having us. Seriously, This is awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. It's really nice to see you all on here. So before we dive into our topic, which is a big one, it's an important one, I want to just open it up. And Laura, I'm going to have you start first. Just take a minute to introduce yourself to our viewers, your time in childcare, and if you've got a little something fun to share about Brecksville, your school, go ahead and add that in there.
So I've been in the education field for about 20 years in various roles. I am newer to the Nest. I've only been here for a few months, but I'm not a new Nest family. So I decided to choose the Nest school for my daughter when I was first looking for childcare, when I was teaching in the Parma City School District. And I just fell in love with, honestly, the core values and our curriculum, and I really am excited to be a organization.
That's great. I did not know that about you. Oh my gosh, I just learned something very cool and new about you, Laura. Thank you for sharing. Amber, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amber Clifford. I'm the director at the Nest School in Winter Garden. I am from South Dakota. I have been in the childcare field for almost 30 years now. I've done everything from a para, from special needs, to teaching VPK for almost 10 years. And
Amazing.
I'm super excited to be with the Nest.
Amazing. Well, we're happy to have you, and I am very grateful that you joined us tonight to be one of our guests. Diana, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Diana Allen. I'm the director with the Nest School over in Lutz. I've been teaching and directing for almost 15 years now, coming up to 15 in May. And with that, with our location in particular, I've been there since we opened. So for the last 2 years, I've been with our Lutz location.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Diana. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to give my co-host Haley a second to just introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Haley. As Danielle said, I am really behind the scenes as a member of the education department. I have been in the early childhood field since just about 2016, but I have loved all things in the education field pretty much my entire life. I have done a little bit of everything from working with before and after school age children, school age children in summer camp, and then really finding my true passion with the little ones and our young learners in early childhood. So I'm very excited to be a part of the Nest and have been a part of the Nest for the last a little over 2 years now.
Great. Thanks, Haley. I'm happy to have you co-hosting and helping me drive the show here. So tonight's topic, it's a big one. It's such an important one. It's one that here at the Nest, we hold very near and dear to really everything we do, from our programs that we design and offer to young children, to the initiatives we bring to our staff, and really just the way that we all as Nest school leaders and members of this great company and child care organization really try to embody every day, and that's kindness, right? It is one of our core values. It is the most important core value, and we all, as educators, as parents, as providers to young children in many capacities, have a great responsibility to really help instill a lot of that in the young children that we see every day. So, Amber, I'm going to start off with you in our first question. Can you talk to us a little bit about what some of those benefits are to bringing kindness into the everyday lives of our young children?
Absolutely. So, like you were saying, it is our most important core value. So, not only as teachers, but as parents, our most important job is to raise kind human beings. So, the importance is just we raise happy, caring children. It makes them have a greater self-esteem. It makes them have a greater sense of belonging. It gives their concentration level. I mean, what child doesn't like to feel the feeling of kindness and to see what it does to their emotions?
Absolutely. Diana, anything you want to add to that?
Oh, I think that Amber hit on a lot of it, but I think for us, with bringing kindness into our classrooms every single day and modeling that for children, gives them their own values to look forward to bringing into their siblings, to their families every single day, and bringing it out into the world. I mean, we're very much about bringing kindness and having our own kind nest, but we also want it to just not stop at us and go outside of that too.
Absolutely. I think you say something so incredibly important there is it doesn't stop with us. We want them to take what we show and what we model to them here inside our programs and in schools and really bring that with them through all seasons of life, right? We're hoping it sets that incredible foundation for being a kind and well-rounded and really great human, right? Laura, is there anything you want to add to that question?
I mean, that's a really great answer. Honestly, I think it really helps us see each other, and allows our children to be able to see others, and we are modeling how we want to be treated. I think that definitely is seen every single day with what we do, and certainly it drew me. It was one of the main core values that drew me as a parent, to the Nest originally.
Yeah. From a parent perspective, what are some of the things that you initially started seeing for your daughter when you were a parent for our programs, right? Which is where you first started. What are some of those big kind ways you saw kindness coming through within our programs?
Well, my daughter is an only child. She had difficulty sharing. And so we talked a lot about that. You know, when you go to school, you have to share your toys, you have to share your time with the teacher, you have to share your supplies. So that was a big thing for me and a big draw, that when she would come home, she was learning that. You know, she was seeing that modeled at school and learning how to share and say, okay, and taking a moment, taking turns was a big deal. So she had kind of understood that and kind of was able to take that into my family life as far as like with her cousins and playing with friends. So, I mean, it's still a hard lesson that we still have to work on, but it's something I definitely saw an improvement in.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, sometimes there are lots of things that we're all still working on, even as adults, right?
Yeah.
Keely, I'm going to let you take over for a minute. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thanks, Danielle. I think one last thing that I just want to piggyback on before I jump into our next question is, as a bonus parent myself, one of the biggest takeaways that I get hearing in my little one's conferences is hearing about how kind of a human being he is. I feel like that is the biggest compliment that I get, and that I hear, and that I'm so incredibly proud of our little one, of how kind he is to his peers, inclusiveness and all of that. And I know that he's learning that from, other educators in his life as well. So before we really kind of go into our next question, one of the best ways that we do teach our children is through different opportunities of stories. So for our young children, stories really are this great way to see themselves as the characters and really begin to think themselves, well, what would I do if that was me? Or how would I feel if I was that character? It's really beginning to deepen their imagination and their creative thinking, even when they're problem solving through these opportunities. So, certainly teaching a concept like kindness is really no different. So, Laura, can you tell me what is your favorite children's book to read to young children that promotes kindness?
So something that I read starting when Antonia was just a baby. It was a great book that was recommended to me. It's called Kindness Makes Us Stronger. And it talks about, different things like offering comfort, support, knowing patience. Patience makes us stronger, and understanding just what kindness is all about. This book right here. It's one of my faves. I also have a really cool one that we've been reading just recently. It's called Just Try One Bite. It's about a family of they have 3 children. Mom and dad have 3 children, and the children are trying to get mom and dad to eat healthier. And it is all about just telling them, hey, you can't eat junk food, you can't eat sugary stuff, but it develops into that, or it shows those characteristics of kindness, of patience, taking turns, supporting one another, offering comfort and helping. So I really love that book too. That's a big favorite.
Absolutely, absolutely. Diana, what is a story that you've heard your teachers read inside the classrooms that really promotes kindness for young children?
Oh, we have so many,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously we have our Nest book programs to help promote. But I think one of the great things that we do in throughout our school is that we have leveled stories so that all of our children have a different story so that they'll understand it on their level. So a story like Laura was saying might be more appropriate for a child who's like in their 3s and 4s, or the kind of story she brought up might be good for a 1 or a 2. But there are other stories in there. I mean, I know it's a very simple story, but when you do if you give a mouse a cookie, I mean, we're talking about a very universal story for a lot of kids, where we're talking about sharing and what that has to mean. And sharing does mean a lot to kids. Or if you're doing something with those, or you have different characters and different stories, especially our emotion books that we do. So we do a different, we do a lot of things, especially with 2-year-olds, where we, teeth are not for biting, how we do those stories. And we're showing them and modeling them what those are for so that we can be kind to others. So we do a lot of leveled reading, and I think in our classrooms, and that's able to develop more kindness as they get older and build those blocks as we give them more nuanced stories.
Absolutely. If you give a mouse a cookie was certainly one of my favorite stories that we used to read in my toddler classroom, really kind of promoting the aspect of sharing and, those different aspects of it.
I have one, Diana, as I'm listening to you talk about sort of those levels, right? I have one that I always still read to my girls. Giraffes Can't Dance, one of our absolute favorites. And we've truly been reading it since both of them were very young. And I think what's been so interesting for me as a parent is it's got a wonderful message about kindness and really sort of accepting people for their differences, right? And how unique we are. It also shows the perspective of that little cricket who sees a friend who's sad or not feeling great about themselves, and how they work to sort of uplift him and to get Gerald the giraffe to really celebrate his own differences. And one of the things that I love that you were hitting on here is this leveled piece, because I remember as you were saying that, I'm going back to like, wow, I remember what it was like when I was reading Amelia, my oldest, that book at a very young age, right? And sort of how she got it. And then as we continued to read that book as she got older, just the way our conversations and the way I could truly see her understanding of kindness and all of the different versions, right? Kindness has a wide range, I think, of definitions. So you're bringing me back. It's just so nice to remember like how that growth changes and how we can start it early on and then watch it really take shape over time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Danielle. All right. So it's time for our first poll of the night. So as viewers, we love to hear from you all. So if you're watching through Facebook or YouTube, please put your replies in the comments so that we can share a few of the responses out. So our first poll question is going to be, what does kindness mean to you? So while we wait for these replies to come in, Amber, I'd love to hear from you and Laura as well, from both of you, what kindness means to you. So Amber, let's start with you.
Kindness means to me just about making somebody feel good. I think one of the most important things about kindness is the way that it makes another person feel, and that might motivate them to do something kind for somebody else. And paying it forward is a huge lesson to teach a child.
Absolutely. Laura, how about you? What does kindness mean to you?
I think it's something that I have obviously really thought about in regards to being a parent, and teaching Antonia what is kindness. It is first instilling that being kind to yourself and having that level of self-respect. We talk about being kind to our things and kind to others. For example, if there's a moment where she's upset or she's, throwing a tantrum or she's throwing something, we talk about, you know, how are we treating our things? How are we treating ourselves? Taking a moment to take a breath. So being patient with ourselves, helping one another, helping ourselves and supporting one another as well. So I think that's really, looking at ourselves first and how we want to be treated and showing her that we have to be the models as well. So, and how does that feel? Like Amber had said, it feels good to be able to offer support or help one another or show respect for one another. So I think that's a key role right there too.
I love that. I love that. I love hearing this. It makes me feel happy. Just to share what some of our viewers have said, they have said that what kindness means to them is respecting myself and others, lifting people up when they need it most, even when they don't, providing some empathy, caring, sharing, and loving one another. Again, it sounds, Amber, like someone has a very similar aspect of paying it forward. It's a great way to teach children how to be kind to others. Diana, anything that you want to add in here about what kindness means to you?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think one of the things that we always think about with kindness is it has to be visible, and it doesn't need to be. And one of the things that we, especially with working with young children, is that we do, talk to them about, helping others doesn't have to be something that they see you do. It can be picking up something for them and putting it away. It can be anything from, helping your teacher by just, be listening to the directions they give you. Or when you're working with other adults and being kind to our parents, it might be that moment where, they've got their baby in one hand, they've got their toddler in the other, and they've got the 5-year-old behind them, and they might need you to open the door and they don't expect it, but it's not something they need you to visibly do. It's just those little acts of kindness every single day. And I think we really want to, at least for me, always make sure to remember that, because it means the world to parents when you just go the extra mile, and to everybody that you don't have to visibly do it. It can be something invisible too.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. One of my favorite things about listening to each of you talk about kindness, hearing from our viewers in the poll, is that everybody's interpretation or definition of kindness is just a little bit different, right? And I think that speaks to just how many different ways we can show and promote and model kindness for our young children, for ourselves, and just really sort of spread that throughout with, whoever we're interacting with. I want to dive into one of the things that I love about these Nest Builders events is that it's an opportunity to share tips, tricks, and tools that you all, as my guests, we all have to share with our families about whatever topic it is that we're talking about. And, obviously tonight is kindness. So Diana, I'd love to hear from you first. What are some of the different tips, tricks, and tools that you can offer parents as ways that they can foster kindness within their home with their children?
There's so many different ones that you can utilize. As parents, as educators, we have a lot of tools that we're given because we're due the education, but we don't always get that, especially when we're on our first baby and the first child. Some of the different things that we obviously have are books and stories. Like we've said before, there's a few that are great. There's more that are out there that are going to be fantastic resources. But I would also say modeling behaviors that you want to see your child have is the most important thing you can do. If you want them to succeed and you want them to be kind, you have to show them kindness in turn. And we work on that with our teachers every single day, of having them make sure that they're showing how kindness is by sharing with other people, by making sure that we're giving soft words and compliments, and always making sure that we're treating everyone like a human being and giving them what they need every single day. So there's a lot of modeling that goes into that, but it's also being aware of your speech, how you talk to others, what you do and how you do it, that really gives that kindness to everyone and offers them that opportunity to also do it in turn.
Absolutely. Love that you hit on modeling. I think that is such a powerful tool that, sometimes I think even for me as a parent, sometimes I forget just how much my modeling really sort of sets this tone for a lot of things, right? Kindness, and certainly really any aspect or topic that we're looking to teach or instill in our children. Laura, anything you want to add? Any activities, any tips, tricks in your toolbox there?
Honestly, when I'm talking to parents on a daily basis, we talk about being patient with ourselves, knowing that we are doing the best that we can, and making sure that we're just taking a breath for ourselves so that we can remember, okay, yeah, our child sees what we do, our child observes, and we are models for that behavior. I really love that honestly, Diana brought up modeling, because it's truly that's how our children learn. But I do remember, or do, encourage parents, and especially myself, to just be patient with myself sometimes. It's a hard day sometimes that I come home and I'm like, okay, but I need to remember to just take a breath.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amber, anything you want to add in terms of some different ways that parents can foster and promote kindness in the home with their children?
Yeah, I think a good way to foster showing kindness is to instill good habits, like using manners, expressing gratitude, and being compassionate. Teaching a child how to show compassion is a huge feat as a parent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think on that topic too is teaching the art of repairing, right? Mistakes are going to happen. Things will happen,
Absolutely.
right? And how do we repair that and move forward, I think, is another big one there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all so much. Those are such great suggestions that you're all sharing with us. I want to go ahead and just sort of build off of that a little bit, right? We talk about this repairing piece, and sometimes there are those moments where a child is maybe seemingly unkind or is perceived as unkind, right? Something happens that maybe sends that message. Laura, what are some tips you can give parents on how to navigate those moments? What happens in the moment where you may see your child be unkind or do something that perhaps is perceived as unkind?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's first coming with recognizing that emotion. Anthony and I talk a lot about recognizing our feelings and recognizing our emotions so that we can identify if we're mad, if we're sad, if we're upset. That I think is key right there, and taking to recognize and sit with that. And then looking at a restorative communication. We talk a lot about at Brecksville about restorative play and restorative communication. And that goes with the toddlers. That goes with, our 1-year-old on up, to talk to our friends and look at our friends and say, I'm sorry I did that, or it's my job to keep you safe. If something should happen, if, a toy gets thrown, or whatever it might be. But it's really looking at someone in the eye and having that communication piece is key. Identifying that emotion and then talking about it and saying, hey, I'm sorry I did that. And if there's a hug that happens, that's great. That we can encourage that. Absolutely. But I think it's definitely restorative in nature and talking about it.
Absolutely. Diana, anything you want to add there in those moments where we see, not the kindest of choices or the kindest of behavior? What are some tips you have for really navigating that or helping parents navigate that?
Yeah, so I think Laura might have touched on it very well, but for our school, and I know all of the nests, we have our 5 feather techniques. So when something does, happen in the classroom or outside of the classroom, we have a whole technique to go through that step by step with our students, so we can go through, why are you feeling that way? Just like Laura was saying, it's about emotions, really. Most of these come down to it. So having a technique that we can transfer over to parents and talk to them about and why we utilize it is really important, because it's consistency across the board. So we can use that in school, they can use it at home, and we can keep working on those behaviors possibly if they are reoccurring. Or it can just be a really great tool if you want to, see something that's new and be able to address it right away with those children that we're working with and the ones at home. So it's a great tool for both us and our parents.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, that consistency, that homeschool consistency and connection can be really important when navigating some of those little roadblocks, if you will. Haley, anything you want to add here? I know you have lots of experience specifically in that toddler world, which can be a fun age for navigating kindness and really teaching children how to treat others and things like that. Anything you have that you want to add?
Yeah. So my toddlers, a lot of what we work around in that toddler age is really being able to express their emotions, express their feelings, really listening to them as they're working through those communication skills. So a lot of what I did was I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, so and so, you're mad. I would say things like, I see that you're mad right now, right? I see that your eyebrows are maybe pushed in, or you're clenching your fists really tight. Can we talk about what might have made you mad or made you sad or angry in that moment? But also recognizing when an unkind act might happen in the classroom, right? If a friend might have hit another child or things like that, really being able to recognize what we can do in that moment to make the child that might have had that unkind act happen to them feel better. Can we offer a hug? Can we offer a gentle touch? Can we offer an ice pack? Or sometimes can we just say, are you okay? And those are some of the big 4 things that I used to really work on with my toddlers inside that classroom. Not necessarily going straight to the say I'm sorry, because a lot of times there could be a reason why that unkind behavior happened. A friend might have a toy that they really wanted that toy. So really making sure that we are taking that moment to check in on that peer in those moments. And I think that is something to really instill with as our children continue to grow, is really having those tools of how do you check in on someone when something unkind might have happened.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you speak so well to that repair piece and bringing the child who may have had the unkind moment, right? Bringing them into it and letting them be a part of that repair, right? So that they can see what it's like to repair, what it's like to sort of learn different tools for navigating some of those feelings and emotions that led to the incident, et cetera. I think that's really, really great advice. So thank you all so much for weighing in on that one for me. We're going to open up to the next poll question. This one I am very excited about. We're in that special season, right? That special time of year where a lot of us are seeing family members, perhaps that we haven't seen in a long time. There's a lot of traditions. There's a lot of doing for others, right? Spreading that kindness. So my poll question for our viewers, and again, if you are on Facebook or YouTube, you're just going to put your response there in the comment section. My question is, what is your favorite family tradition or way to spread kindness this time of year? And as those come in, I do want to open it up to our guests and just hear from you all what some of those are. So, Diana, let's start with you. What are some of your favorite family traditions or ways to spread kindness this time of year?
So my family is very much across the United States of America. We're spread out quite far. So one of the things we do, and it's a simple thing, is just to be able to connect to each other, is to check in doing like Facebook, or not Facebook, but like Facebook messages to each other and Facebook events to each other, where we'll have like a Facebook party so we can see everyone and check in on family and just do check-ins, because those are so important when you are around the holidays, or just when you're not as connected because you're all across the board, and being able to really connect with them and see how everybody's doing. So making time, I think, is probably the biggest thing for us as a family. We make time and slot that time so everyone's involved. We work to make sure everyone can be on those calls. And that's a really important thing, I think, for adults and young children, because they want to feel like you've taken that time to make it special. I mean, something like this, where we're taking time to talk about kindness and what is important, is the exact same thing. Making that time for each other is really important. So we always make sure, I mean, my immediate family every week, but our whole extended family once a month does this. So it's a big meeting of everyone where we get to share and talk and really get to connect with each other.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, never underestimate the power of time, a moment to feel connected to people. Laura, how about you? What are some of your favorite family traditions and ways to spread kindness this time of year?
So we have a very large family. I am the youngest of 7. My sister has 9 children. My other sister has 6 children. We actually are able to fit under one roof, and we get together on Christmas Eve, and we have a meatless dinner, and we just talk about the season and talk about how we have, seen different things throughout the year, kindness, seen joy throughout the year. And we come, and this year we actually have a theme. We have a little bit of a prayer service, and we have a theme this year. It is presenting a piece of art or a poem or something that is showing our religion in our family, but also showing kindness in our family and showing joy in our family. So it's really cool to get together and see everybody and share that. And it's I know it sounds crazy to say this, but it's kind of an intimate moment, even with 40 people, to talk about that and talk about those. I mean, we talk about our emotions and talk about our feelings. So it's really cool. Every Christmas Eve we do it.
Wow, I love that. And yes, that's a great big group of people. 40, that's amazing. Amber, you want to share a family tradition with us before I review some poll results?
Absolutely. So this is funny that this is just coming up because I was just thinking about this. I am a mom of 5 girls. So 4 of them are adults. And it's just so awesome as a parent to see that this time of year it used to be about presents and presents and presents and presents. And now that they've become adults, their theme is kind of making memories. So besides this time of year having the holidays, all 4 of their birthdays are in December. So it has become a tradition, because I just can't do it anymore, that they plan their own birthdays. And they plan their own birthdays for something for all of us to do. Like last weekend, one of my daughter got me and my other daughters and my husband tickets to Universal. And another one is taking everybody to a ballet. So that's just a really cool experience as a parent, to see that what I did try so hard to do when they were young is working out.
Yeah, it's those moments. It goes back to Diana's time, right? Just being together and finding time to have those special, memorable moments. We've got some great feedback from the poll. We've got some that adopt families to help with gifts or food and traditions. So adopting another family that has a need in some way, right, this time of year. Making cookies and sharing them with neighbors. Getting items off of somebody's wish list, paying it forward, so paying for someone's coffee behind me. We've got some that do FaceTime, similar to you, Diana, finding ways, even when we're spread out far across a large space, right, and we can't be together in person, finding those ways to still stay connected. Helping to care for neighbors. We've got some that help pack meals for the homeless, adopt grandparents at retirement homes that don't have family close by, own family traditions, a lot centered around making time and creating those precious memories, which I think is really, really special. We do some similar, right? We do a little bit of adopting families, but as well with our girls, and we always include them in the process, right? It'd be very easy for me to visit Amazon and just order everything and have it shipped, but it is an all-day affair, one weekend, where we say this was their list, and the girls get a chance to really think about that, especially if they've got children, and really think about what those other children might like. And been a big learning experience, right? Lots of reminders of what we're there for and who we should be thinking about in that moment. But great special memories regardless. Haley, any you want to share about you and your family?
Yeah, so we definitely, again, very similar, adopt a family, going to different, homeless shelters or women's and family shelters. And again, really just finding those aspects to, especially for families that might be spending the holidays in a shelter, really being able to offer warm blankets or some fresh clothes into their homes as well during the holiday season.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Laura, we're going to keep diving into it. I'm going to go to you with another really great question here. Talk to us a little bit about what age you feel like is most appropriate for parents to start teaching or promoting kindness with their children.
Oh, from the beginning. Anthony and I talked about from the very beginning, when she was a baby, we talked about different things and communicated all the time. I would talk to her about what we were doing, or just simple things like, okay, I'm going to pick you up right now, or, we're going to go here, or we're going to go there. I mean, it really, honestly, I think it is never too early to start talking about kindness and instilling that. And it's also a way to build a bond and build that communication and enrich your child's communication as well.
Absolutely. Amber, anything you want to add there about best time to start promoting kindness with young children?
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna all say the same thing. It's never too early to start. I think when they're infants, we can start with little things like touching and snuggling, and just being affectionate. I think that's a huge part of teaching kindness is teaching affection.
Absolutely. How do you see, Diana, because I do agree, I think we're all going to agree here that it's never too early to start promoting kindness, modeling what that looks like and things like that. How do you see, or how can parents maybe expect to see the teaching or the promoting of kindness sort of shift as young children get older, right? What we do with infants is going to look a little bit different than what we do with those toddlers and preschoolers.
So I think one of the things we touched on before we talked about is the different modeling that we do for different age groups. So like Amber said, when you're working with infants, we're going to be using gentle touches. We're going to be, talking about how to be with one another. And, when we're cuddling, don't pull on mommy's hair. And, working on those different kinds of things with them. But as they get older and working on those larger concepts of, we're going to be showing them how to share when they're turning 1 year old, which is a big, developmental milestone is sharing, especially when they're 1 and 2, and working on facilitating that, and how to be more than just, the introspection that most of young toddlers do, and getting to be aware of others. And then as we move up to the 3s, we're going to be working on those independent skills of how do we work together, especially when we're doing team building. I mean, especially when we're doing, in our schools, Fit Buddies and all those kind of things where we have to do team activities and we're working on playing soccer together. How do we interact together and make a team and work together? And that's part of kindness, is how to communicate with each other. And as we get older, and with our, our Robins, our 4-year-olds, it's the communication differences that you're going to see. I go from with our infants talking about, doesn't that feel nice? And it's nice to have nice touches. With 1-year-olds, we're going to go, that was so nice that you're sharing. Isn't it nice when other people share with you? With like 3s and 4s, we're going to continue modeling those and talking to them in different ways that really facilitates that kindness and working together. So it becomes, more individualistic. And as we grow, it gets more of a group activity.
Absolutely. Now, being directors in various locations, I do have a question for you all. If you could share, and we'll start with Laura, share with me your favorite moment as a director, your favorite experience you've seen happen in your school that really promoted kindness with the children in your building.
I saw that today. I mean, I'm trying to think of like all of the different moments, honestly, that I've seen over my time, but I saw it today. A little boy in our Cardinals room. We were out in our outside gym today because it was a little chilly out, so we were having some outdoor fun in our inside gym, I should say. And he accidentally bumped one of his friends. His friend started crying, and he walked over to him and was like, so sad that he was crying, and he just put his hand on his shoulder and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, this is the moment. This is what the nest is all about. Just understanding and having that empathy. But I mean, for that child to have that skill, in a cardinal room is a testament to the educators that we have, showing and modeling that behavior, teaching that behavior, and a testament to the parents for taking that communication home and taking that modeling that behavior at home. It was really cool. And then it's always really cool to go down there anytime I walk past that area. It's Miss Laura, and I get hugs. So that's always cool too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amber, how about you? What's been one of your most favorite moments that you've seen being a director in Winter Garden?
So I'm going to use something actually that just happened today as well. We have a couple little boys in our center that are brothers that fight their way in and fight their way out. And you can just tell at home they are just they fight. That's their love language. While one of the older boys was walking outside, he noticed that his brother was sad in another room, and he asked the teacher, "Can I go give him a hug? I don't know. He looks so sad." And that just kind of took us all back, and we went, it was just so cool.
I love that. I do often hear that. I was just having a conversation with my sister, actually. She's got 3 little ones. 2 of them are now in the same school. And we were talking about their past conferences, and both of their teachers had said they're so kind to each other in school. They walk each other to classroom. They always give a hug and say, "Oh, I love you, so and so," or "I love you, so and so," before they part ways. And it's funny because, certainly as parents, we joke, and she's like, sometimes at home, I'm like, where is that, right? Because they're siblings, right? They have their spats, they have their disagreements, but in the moment and out there, you get to see them do that. So that's such a beautiful moment that they happen for sure. Diana, what's one of your favorite moments as a director?
It's specifically it's something that happens every single day, so I love seeing it. But not to toot the horns of our Cardinals, our 2-year-olds, but one of our 2-year-olds every single day, when her friend is leaving, she goes and grabs their water bottle for them and hands it to them as they're leaving every single day without fail. And if they forget it, she brings it over to the parents so that they can have their water and they don't forget it for the day. And it is just always the sweetest thing that possibly could happen, because they're, it's a moment of real care that she's really wanting to make sure that they have their water bottle when they leave for the day. And then to talk to our parents, because I know we so much focus on our students, but when we just see our parents holding the doors open for each other or stopping to, say hello to one another in the hallways, I think it's a really important moment because they are checking in on each other. And it's really nice to see the community in our classrooms too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Haley, I'm going to let you take lead on this last question that we've got here.
Thank you. Thanks. I can't believe we are already at the time for the last question. We talk so much about showing kindness in others and treating others with kindness, but I also think that it is really important to hit on the kindness that we do show ourselves and that respect within ourselves as well. So I really want to start with you, Amber, really asking this question of why is it important to show respect and to show kindness to our own selves for our young children, whether that is our young children showing kindness and respect to themselves, or really how we as the adults and those modelers in these situations, showing, again, promoting that own self-kindness and self-respect.
Like we've been talking about, it's kind of been the theme of the night is modeling. Modeling is so important for children and for adults. Being self-aware and how we act, how we speak, how we treat each other. whether it's at work, whether it's at home, you're being a teacher, a mother. Self-awareness is just so important when it comes to kindness.
Absolutely. I always think about a creative expression area. I know for myself, art projects, I'm not an artist by any means. And so art projects was always this time where I would get very down on myself as a child. And it's something that as a teacher working with young children, I try to really work through some of my mistakes that I'm making. I feel like I very much project a lot of positivity out loud and speak out loud when I am making these mistakes or notice a mistake in my work, so that the children themselves around can start to really hear that. Again, I think, as you mentioned, that modeling aspect. So absolutely. Laura, how about you? Why do you think that it's important to really show that respect and kindness to our own sense of self for our young children?
Well, I think it definitely, like Amber had said, even in the beginning of our conversation, it builds that self-confidence. It's important to show that, we can make mistakes, but we want to be patient with ourselves. We want to treat ourselves with respect, and it shows our children how they want to be treated or how they should be treated, by others. So I think honestly, like I said, Amber really hit on that in the very beginning of our conversation of building those building blocks of confidence. And I love that she pointed out the self-awareness. It's really even important as adults that we are aware of our own emotions, and showing that to our children allows them to identify their own emotions as well.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite activities, and I know that we very much do inside the classrooms, is that self-affirmations activity where we ask the children to have that mirror and to say some nice things about themselves, to be that, be kind to themselves. I think especially as our children are growing up in a big digital world, really making sure that we are continuing to instill that self-kindness. So thank you. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Laura, for sharing. Diana, any final thoughts in here?
Oh, I think one of the things that it's really important for us to remember, and I think Laura and Amber both said it, kindness is wellness, which is one of our values as well. And if you have a lot of kindness for yourself and for others, you're going to build your personal wellness and those around you. So it's really important to make sure you're holding on to developing that for yourself, because you can only be as kind as you are to yourself. So you need to be building that for children, that it's okay to be having a day where you don't feel particularly kind to yourself, but how can we get there, and working on strategies so that they do feel they can have a kind day to them, so they can be kind to others.
Absolutely. Really bringing in that wellness aspect as well.
I love that. I think one of the things that I love about what each of you said, right? So much of it is similar, but I think it touches on this really learning to love our uniqueness about ourselves, right? We're all different. The world would be very boring if we were all the same. That's what I always tell my girls. Imagine if we were all the same, all looked the same, all did the same things, all answered the same. It wouldn't be the wonderful, beautiful, diverse world that we have. And I think that that's a huge piece too, is it, showing that respect for ourselves and promoting that with young children teaches them to really appreciate those unique qualities and things about them that truly make them who they are, right? It makes us who we are, right? Thank you all so, so much. As Haley said, time flies when you're having fun. An hour has very quickly come upon us. And so I just want to take a minute to thank you, Laura, Diana, Amber, for your willingness to be on here with us, to just share yourself and your thoughts, your suggestions, your wisdom. Thank you. It really does mean a lot.
Absolutely.
Haley.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Haley, thanks for co-hosting with me.
Welcome.
It was fun to have somebody to pass questions and thoughts and ideas back and forth with throughout this. We will have another show coming to you in January, so stay tuned for that. I am very excited to share some information about the next date, which will be January 16th. It'll be the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And for this one, we will be talking again with our medical partners, our friends at Zest Pediatrics. And for this one, we're going to talk about that third year of life. Talk about what's happening developmentally, some of the challenges we may be overcoming in that third year, and certainly all the fun that comes with it as well. You can register for this event visiting the link that you see here, or by going to our website, www.thenestschool.com/nestbuilders. And until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next year. Bye, everybody.